Hello, Happiness Abounder, and welcome back. This is episode 400, which is just so crazy cool and makes me so excited and happy. So thank you so much, whether this is your first episode, your 10th, or your 400th. Thank you so much for joining me here on the podcast. Without your kind words of encouragement and sharing your stories of how what I talk about has helped, I would not be here today. It is because of your wonderful ears and you applying what I teach and then sharing it with me that gives me that motivation, that drive to keep going. So thank you so much. So that said, I know you want to know what episode 400 is all about, and that's wrapping up our week about what to write about in our journals. Specifically today, I want to encourage you and talk about writing in our journals about our successes and our failures. Of course, the next question is, what does that look like, right? What does writing about our successes look like? Mentioned at the first of this week about how we should write about the situations and how we're feeling. I think writing about your successes is also writing about how you caught yourself in the middle of an angry thought or a negative thought, how you moved forward in a situation that might have been a holdback before. I have a story where I, as some of you may know, I have been working very diligently and very hard to manage my emotions, to control my thoughts, and to get the results that I want. And I had a situation happen last December, and it was nothing. It wasn't that big of a deal, but I made a comment out of kind of anger and irritation, and it was really rude. And in the past, I would have beat myself up about it, felt really guilty, then tried to blame the other person for coming in on the conversation that was none of their business. And I just would have spun this around so many different ways to not have to feel bad that I made a rude comment, not to have to feel guilty. And that's something that probably would have spun around in my head for months, if not years. And because of the work that I've been able to do with emotional management, I was able to catch it within about 20 minutes, give myself maybe an hour to kind of feel through those emotions, and then forgive myself, hope that the other person has forgiven me, and move on. And that to me was a huge, huge success. Something that would have felt impossible 5 years ago. And some of you may be like, you recovered mentally from making a rude comment, a rude offhand comment. That's a success? For me, it is. So that's why I want to encourage you to write in your journals your successes as they are for you. Not a success that someone else may see as success. Not those great big things, but maybe the success of, I just really want to keep my house clean. And today, dear journal, today I cleaned my house. It's been on my to-do list, and I did it top to bottom. I'm exhausted, but it's done. I've done it. It's a success. I think there's something to be said about tracking our successes, recording them in a special place. Because too often we can pull so easily. We can pull from the things that are our failures. It's a lot more difficult to pull something that's a success unless it's so big that everyone's like, oh, you're a success. But it's the small, everyday successes that help us remember that we are capable and we are qualified to be happy, to be our best selves. So, write down your successes. No matter how small they may seem to you, if they're a success to you, that is what is important. So on the flip side, I also mentioned writing in our journals, sharing our failures. Now, why in the world would we do that as well? I just said I want to record, I want to have record, I want to be able to pull from all of my successes. Absolutely. But we also learn and grow the most from our failures. So don't write in your journal, I failed at this today, I suck, I'm the worst, I don't know what's wrong with me. That's not productive. But their journal, I failed at this today and I totally learned X, Y, and Z. Here's what I'm going to do to prevent this from happening moving forward. Total game changer. And here it is in your journal for you to look back at. For maybe your prosperity to look back at and see your wins and to learn from your failures. Now, isn't that powerful? It is to me. And I think that it's one of the best things you can do, one of the best ways and types of writing to do in your journal, because it is so impactful. And it's also so important to get it, and I say this again, get it out of your head. You're holding on to your failures, get them out on paper. Identify what you've learned, how you're going to grow, and then it can stop hounding you. It can stop replaying over and over and over again. And as for the successes, record those too, because you want to be able to remember them. You want to be able to look back and be like, wow, my month of June was phenomenal. I had so many amazing things happen that normally I wouldn't have considered that were great successes, but they were. I have to laugh because when I look back at my June journals, my June journal entries, I should say that 5 times fast. But when I look back at those, I see these successes that I'm sure a couple years ago I would have just, whatever, right? Just would have brushed them off. They're the kind of thing maybe somebody else would brush off, but to me now, they're a success. And it could be something silly like I play the cello, and I joined in January a community orchestra. Luckily, they didn't have any auditions, so that's how I could be a part of it. And I'm not great, but I love going and playing. And it's really fun to challenge myself in a way I haven't been challenged in years. And at the beginning of the month, I got to go play in a concert, something I haven't done since I was in high school. And to me, that was a huge success. It was a success to keep going all the way from January. There were times where I was like, oh, I don't want to go to orchestra practice. I'm just going to stay home. And then I was like, no, I've committed. This is a goal. It's a goal to play in that concert. So it was a win. It was a success. And I'm so excited I can go back and see that in a couple years when I'm playing in them all the time, right? Then a couple years I can look back and be like, oh yeah, that was a big deal. When in a few years it might not seem like that big of a deal because I've done it so frequently since then. And it's the same thing too, funny enough, with teaching my first vision board class around this time last year. It was a big deal. I was teaching my first class, and now I teach them every month. But I can look back and I can relive my excitement. I can reshare in my own successes. And I can remember that, yeah, I can do hard things. I can do things I thought I would never be able to do. And that is powerful. So I really want to encourage you to write in your journal your successes and what you've learned from your failures, because it can make a world of difference in how you view the world and your own life. So that said, that is wrapping up our week all about what you should put in your journal. But I want to take the last few minutes here and also talk about something coming up, funny enough, like my vision board class. I'm teaching a class on July 13th. And if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, leading up to July 13th, I'm also sharing once a day a video of some of the stuff I've taken off of my vision board. One of those being my vision board class. And funny enough, today on my 400th episode anniversary, I'll be talking about how I was able to take starting a podcast off of my vision board. So I really want to encourage you to go follow me on Facebook. It's Happiness Abound blog, or on Instagram, happiness_abound, and to check out the class. If you have goals, but you're not quite sure how to get them, or you're like, I don't even have goals, and I really just wish I did, come to this class. July 13th, there's online options, replay options available if you're not able to attend live, and also in-person options. So go to happinessabound.com, click on courses, and select Vision Board Class, and sign up today. But in the meantime, follow me on social media to see what I've taken off my vision board and what I've written about in my journals. So that said, have a wonderful day.